Welcome. Tonight is a special night, and every night is a special night when, as you begin to relax your body and take some slow, deep breaths, you can go on the most wonderful adventures just by using the power of your mind. And by using the power of your imagination, you can allow your body to relax deeply and dream the most incredible dreams. And it's amazing that the more you imagine yourself doing or being whatever you want to be, the more you dream it into being. You can choose to imagine whatever feels right for you, because this is your special time to take some slow, deep breaths, letting your head and neck feel really comfortable, wriggling your arms and feet until they feel completely relaxed and comfortable too. And you might even like to pay attention to your back, noticing how it feels, and again moving and wriggling and shifting until you find the most comfortable position to feel completely relaxed. And the more comfortable you feel, the more relaxed you'll feel as you listen to this story. And the more relaxed and comfortable you feel, the sleepier you feel. And I wonder if you can begin to notice your breathing. Perhaps you can feel your chest rising and falling as you place your hands on your heart, slow and steady, rising and falling, relaxing your whole body, rising and falling with each slow, deep breath, relaxing deeper and deeper, as if you're preparing to fall into the deepest of sleeps, the sleepiest of dreams, with the power of your imagination. And as you begin to relax even deeper, I wonder if you've heard the story about Yuri, who learned to fly with the dragons using just the power of his imagination. Your imagination can help you to imagine the perfect stories, the perfect dreams, or create the perfect endings to things that might have bothered you in the past. In your perfect story, you can choose to be brave. In your perfect story, you might ask people for help, fly into space in a rocket, or paint the most incredible pictures. In your dreams, you can allow your imagination to find answers to problems. You may choose to be the fastest runner, tell silly stories that make people laugh, or imagine bullies or monsters being turned into purple jelly. And the best part about dreaming your perfect story is that it's all about you. And as you sleep deeply and breathe slowly, your dreams can help you practice being great at all the things that are important to you, the things that you love. And all you have to do is take these slow, deep breaths as you get really comfortable and your eyes just begin to close. And as you take the next slow, deep breath, I wonder if you can think of one thing that makes you different to everyone else. One thing that is special just to you. And you know that everyone is different for a reason. You and me, your family, all your friends. We all have our own things that we like, things that we're good at, things that make us stand out, that are important and special. Because all of us are important. And just like the colors of the most incredible rainbow, we all blend our amazing colors and talents and ideas in the world. And if you were to take one slow, sleepy breath and imagine breathing in your perfect color to blend into the rainbow, a color to help you feel wonderful, a color to help you feel powerfully relaxed and safe. I wonder what it might be. And as you breathe in your special color, I wonder if I can tell you a story as it helps you to relax comfortably. As you notice the rise and fall of your chest with each slow deep breath, and allow that wonderful imagination of yours to continue to imagine all the things that would feel fun. And if your mind starts to wander, that's okay too, because your imagination knows how to make you feel the most comfortable and safe. And it's safe to sleep whenever you want to, with those slow, sleepy breaths. And this story is about Yuri's cousin, Jasper. He was named after the most beautiful of deep red stones, the stones that shone in the riverbed near his home. Jasper's mother always told him that his name meant keeper of the treasure. And those stones were his special treasure, and he filled his pockets with them and held them to his heart. Jasper was an only child. Some days he felt a little lonely. He so wanted to make friends, but the other children teased him because he was very small for his age. Jasper's mother had decided to go to the city in search of work, far, far away from their little village. And though he would miss her terribly, Jasper was very excited to stay with his favorite cousin Yuri and their grandmother in her old stone cottage. On the first night, unable to sleep, and tossing and turning in bed the way children sometimes do, Jasper had crept silently to Yuri's tiny room. Could just make out Yuri's tiny bed. The room was dark, and he searched around, but Yuri wasn't there. Yuri, where are you? Jasper called, quietly, not wanting to disturb his grandmother. Jasper searched the kitchen, the tiny living room, and then crept out to the stables, where the cattle were gently lowing and swaying. The night air was filled with the steam from their noses and the smell of sweet hay. "Are you here, Yuri?" Jasper called out softly. But all that he heard was the sleepy sounds of cows. Jasper walked back slowly to the cottage, shivering from the chill of the moon's glow. And it was then that he heard the beating of huge dragon wings. He ducked down under a bush, could almost feel them swoop far too close. And as he peeked out into the moonlight, he just saw the silhouette of a boy soaring high amongst them. Too frightened to call out, Jasper ran to his grandmother's room. "Grandmother, grandmother, the dragons have taken Yuri. Come quick." Grandmother was old and slow and seemed to take far too long to pull herself up from her deep, deep sleep now. She pulled on her dressing gown, her old worn slippers, and gathered Jasper up into her arms. "What is it? What is it?" she said. "It's the dragons," said Jasper. "They've taken him." "Taken who?" "They've taken Yuri. They've taken Yuri." "Did you see which way they went?" Jasper nodded and pointed towards the shadows of the misty mountains. Grandmother sighed. "It's many, many days of travel to reach them, and only one who truly cares for Yuri could ever find him." "I must find him, Grandmother, I must, said Jasper with huge tears rolling down his cheeks, though he could still recall the terror of the terrible sound of dragon wings. Grandmother smiled and held him close, and reached into a pocket deep in her robes. She pulled out a small spinning top. "Hold out your hand, Jasper. If you can believe in the power of love, then you can do magic." The top was painted with spirals, red, green, yellow and blue. As he held out his hand, she carefully spun the top in the palm of his hand. The top began to spin faster and faster. "Look at the colors, Jasper. You can change your dreams. You can find Yuri if you listen to your heart." Jasper tried to say that he didn't understand, but he stared at the colors, red merging into yellow, orange merging into green, green merging into blue. "It's safe to dream," said his grandmother. "Your heart will lead you to Yuri." Jasper stared at the colors, red, green, yellow, blue, and his breathing became really slow, just as yours is now. His body began to relax, and he was suddenly aware that his grandmother had wrapped him in the warmest of blankets. The top was still spinning gently on his hand. It began to feel lighter and lighter, and so did he. "That's strange," he thought, as he watched it gently begin to rise and float off his hand until it slowly disappeared. "Follow your heart," he heard his grandmother say. Jasper wished he could find Yuri. He wished it with all of his heart, and then, with each slow, deep breath, he watched as everything in the room became hazy, grew dimmer and more distant, until it disappeared completely. And it was almost as though the same thing was happening to his thoughts. They began to float past without him really noticing them. They grew dimmer and more distant, as though he was dreaming now, until his thoughts completely vanished. And as his thoughts floated away, so did his worries, and the lighter and cozier he felt, just like you are now. Just like the feeling you have when you're snuggled into a warm, soft bed that reminds you of how comfortable you feel. "It's safe to sleep now," whispered his grandmother. "It's safe to dream now." And just like you, he could feel the warmth of the blanket, hear the sound of his breath, felt his eyelids flutter, heavy with sleep. And in Jasper's mind, the colors swirled and spiraled until very, very softly they disappeared into a gentle darkness, just like the closing of velvet curtains and the darkening of a room. And then he heard the gentle sound of wings rising and falling in time with each breath, rising and falling with each slow, deep breath. And after just a moment, Jasper began to hear the relaxing sound of water falling in the distance. And with each slow breath, it became a little louder, with the sound of slow beating wings, a little louder. And as the darkness began to lift, he realized he was now standing in a cave. He could look out through a rainbow of water and color. He could feel the light spray of water on his face, could hear the sound of the water roaring as it fell down deep, deep, deep into the depths. And as he stepped forward to place his hands under the water, he felt his whole body relax even deeper. The water was cool and soothing, and he felt his hands, his arms, and his chest relax deeply as the colors flowed all over his fingers. The waterfall was vast and covered the entrance of the cave. And Yuri once more heard the sound of beating wings coming towards him. He took some steps back and took a deep breath as a dragon darted in and out of the water, splashing and playing as the colors glistened on her green scales and iridescent wings shone with blue, purple, orange and green. Jasper felt his whole body tingle with excitement and fear. The dragon in the waterfall was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. And then he heard a voice behind him. It was a deep, gentle voice that reminded Jasper of a teacher he once knew. "Don't be afraid. You felt it, didn't you? The power of water, the energy of the rainbow." Jasper turned as a small bearded man stepped out into the light. His hair reached down to his shoulders in flyaway wisps that looked like cotton wool, and his eyes twinkled with kindness. "Have you come to learn the secret of the dragon's cave?" No, I've come to find Yuri. The dragons took him." The old man smiled. "Don't worry, your friend is safe. The dragons only lead those who are willing to come. Children who are brave, caring and kind. Children who are ready to adventure alone." "But I'm not brave," stammered Jasper. "I'm frightened. I want Yuri and I want him to come home now." "Your love for Yuri has led you here," smiled the old man. "Now you must decide. It's easy to return home. I can show you the way. All you have to do is close your eyes and imagine you're there, snuggled tight and warm in your own special blanket. And when you awake, all will be well. But if it's your cousin you seek, you must open your heart to adventure and listen to your inner voice. It will guide you to wherever you want to go if you trust it, he said. And suddenly the old man's body began to fade softly into the darkness of the cave. "Come back," called Jasper. But all he heard was the sound of his own voice, the slow beating of wings, and the roar of the water. Jasper held out his arms and felt his way back into the blackness until he reached the end of the cave. But however hard he searched, he could find no way through the rough, cold rock walls. He turned back towards the waterfall and stretched his fingers out into the water. And that feeling of deep relaxation returned, warm and comforting, flowing all through his body. And just like you, he took a slow, deep breath and smiled as he watched the colors flow over his fingers. And each color felt different. Each color felt special. Jasper looked up to the top of the waterfall. He noticed that to the side of the cave entrance there was a stone staircase cut deep into the rock. The stairs led up and up and out through the waterfall. The stairs looked steep and slippery, and Jasper felt nervous as he reached out to grip the wet rocks. Then he remembered Yuri, and his heart filled with love. "I'm coming," he said to himself. "I'll find you, I promise." And as he climbed that steep staircase, gently placing one foot in front of the other, it was as if he could feel his cousin with him, gently holding his hand. Yuri smiled. It was almost as though he felt Yuri's hand in his, felt his warmth and strength with each step he took. Jasper felt calmer and calmer and more relaxed, until he reached the place where the stairs disappeared out through the rainbow waterfall. Jasper took a slow, deep breath and stepped through to the other side where the sun shone down on a high cliff edge. He shook the water off his face and gasped as he looked down at the valley far below. For a moment he felt frightened. He was standing on a small ledge, and he was so very high, surrounded by cliffs, clouds, and the sounds of water and wind. Jasper was high in the misty mountains, and far below and away in the distance was his village. And he half closed his eyes. He could almost make out, far away, was the shadow of the distant city. Jasper wished his mother was with him now, and though his eyes filled with tears, his heart filled with love, as he remembered her smile and how it felt when she held him close. Jasper had never felt so alone as he did just then. "I wish you were with me. I wish you were here," he shouted to the wind. And as if by magic, Jasper felt as though her hand was also in his, warming his heart, leading him on. "I'm always here when you need me," she said. "I'm always here in your heart." "Help me find Yuri," said Jasper to the voice in his heart. "Help me find him. Show us the way home." And you might even remember what it feels like to hold the hand of someone you care about. How it feels in your heart when you think of them. And Jasper took a slow, deep breath, and his heart filled with a sense of calm and peace. And just like you, Jasper knew that he was safe. He looked out at the steep cliffs. "I'm coming, Yuri," he said to himself. "I'm brave when I think of you, when I think of Mother." And the voice of his heart replied, "Look for the crystals, Jasper. Look for the crystals." Jasper followed the stairs higher and higher, climbing up and up the edge of the waterfall, up and up the steep cliff face, until he saw above him a rocky ledge filled with the most beautiful crystals. The staircase ended, and Jasper now saw that the only way to reach the crystals was to climb a steep, steep wall, using smaller crystals just big enough to place his feet and hands on that were lodged in the wall. He took a slow, deep breath. "I wish I was brave, I wish I was brave," he thought. And suddenly his arms felt strong, and he pulled himself up, little by little, until he found himself kneeling on the rocky ledge, surrounded by crystals. Water streamed over them from higher up the cliff face, and flowed over the crystals in the most beautiful colors: ruby red, emerald green, amethyst purple, citrine yellow. Jasper placed his hands on the crystals and smiled as his hands once again felt energized and strong, as he watched the colors flow over his hands and heard his heart say, "Close your eyes, close your eyes, Jasper. You are the keeper of the treasure." Jasper then heard a voice so beautiful and calming. "You were born with all this light and love inside you. It came as a tiny spark when you were born, and when you follow your heart, it becomes bigger and brighter inside you." Jasper closed his eyes, and suddenly he was flying high with the dragons floating and soaring, diving down through the waterfall, through the colors. And as he emerged, his body was shining bright like a rainbow. Jasper felt free and strong, happy and alive. He flew up and out across the misty mountains, higher and higher. And as he flew, he saw the whole world spread out below him. Trees, rivers, snowy mountains. It was all so beautiful. And then suddenly he saw Yuri flying beside him, smiling so much that his eyes glistened. "I'm so glad you could find me," he said. "I hoped you'd be brave enough to discover the dragon's crystals." They held hands and flew higher and higher. Jasper noticed that if he closed his eyes just a little, he could sense and see people below him. And as they flew over, he sensed how they felt. Some were happy, some were sad, some were so tired from working in the fields below, and some were hungry. And as Jasper noticed them and opened his heart to them, streams of rainbow light flew from his heart, touching each of them. People looked up. They were so surprised to see a boy flying high above them. But as the colors rained down and touched their hearts, they smiled back and waved in delight. Jasper and Yuri flew further and faster and further on, until they were now just above Grandmother's house. They could see her fields of vegetables, her stone cottage just below, the flowers waving in the gentlest of breezes. Jasper saw himself floating down, 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 feeling heavier and heavier, feeling more and more relaxed. And as he drifted down, the warmer he felt, as if a heavy blanket was being drawn across him. And you might even imagine how that would feel as you breathe slowly and deeply, just as Jasper did, until he found himself once more snuggled warm and safe in bed, sleeping deeply, sleeping now. And it was the very next morning, as the sun came up, that Jasper awoke to the sound of birdsong and Yuri calling him to breakfast. And all that remained of the misty mountains and the dragon's secret was the sound of his heart telling him he was safe, telling him he was brave, and that the colors of the rainbow made everyone special, gave us all power and strength. And as Grandmother always whispered, it's safe to sleep deeply. It's safe to sleep now. You're special. You are brave. You're caring and strong. You make a difference in everyone's lives. And it is safe to sleep now. Yuri heard his grandmother's words echoing over and over, heard the voice in his heart. You are special. You are brave. You're caring and strong. You do make a difference with your thoughts and your actions. I believe in you. It's safe to sleep now. It's safe to dream now. It's safe to sleep now. And you may even hear it in your own heart as you relax even deeper, as you sleep now, dreaming your perfect dream, creating the perfect ending to all your stories, floating and dreaming. You're powerful, you're brave, you carry the light of 1,000 crystals inside you. As you sleep now, you are perfect, and as you sleep now, you are love. And as you sleep now, you're a powerful dreamer. And as you sleep now, you're clever and kind. And as you sleep now, and every time you sleep, you listen to your heart and dream the perfect dream.